Just like we could make frequency tables and bar graphs for either the frequency or relative frequency, we can make grouped frequency tables and histograms using either the frequency or the relative frequency. Just like when we were talking about a qualitative variable, we find the relative frequency by writing the frequency as a fraction of the sample size. So this is our frequency table that we found in example 1 and used in example 2. And we notice that our sample size was 24. So the relative frequencies, frequency 5 is a relative frequency of 5 out of 24. Frequency 7, that's 7 out of 24. 8, that's 8 out of 24. 3, that's 3 out of 24. 0 is 0 out of 24. And 1 is 1 out of 24. And next we're going to convert these to decimals, because typically we want to give our relative frequencies either as decimals or percents. And for this example, I'm going to round my relative frequencies to 2 decimal places, just because that's going to make them easier to draw in the next step. So I'm going to take my relative frequencies to the calculator, and we'll say 5 divided by 24 to 2 decimal places is 0.21. 7 divided by 24 to 2 decimal places is 0.29. 8 divided by 24 to 2 decimal places is 0.33. 3 divided by 24 to 2 decimal places is 0.13. 0 divided by 24, I don't need the calculator for. I know that's 0. And then 1 divided by 24 to 2 decimal places, that's 0.04. And we could convert these to percents if we wanted them as percents, but I'm just going to leave it here. Our relative frequencies then are these decimals. And now we're going to use our table to create a relative frequency histogram. Again, just putting a small copy on screen for easy reference. So our vertical axis is labeled with our relative frequencies. They go up to 0.36, and our biggest one is 0.33, so we're going to be good there. Our horizontal axis, again, we label with the class boundaries. So we'll have 349, 0.5, 716, 0.5, 1083, 0.5, 1450, 0.5, 1817, 0.5, 2184, 0.5, and 2551.5. And our bar heights now are going to indicate not the frequency, but the relative frequency. So our first relative frequency is 0.21. That's a little bit past 0.2. So we'll go up to here, maybe, for our first bar. Our second relative frequency is 0.29. That's going to be a little bit past 0.28. So we'll go maybe up to here for our second bar. Our third relative frequency is 0.33. That's a little bit past 0.32. So we'll go maybe up to here for our third bar. 0.13, that's a little bit past 0.12. 0, we won't put a bar. And then here's 0.04. And again, in a histogram, we do want our bars to be shaded in. And so here's our relative frequency histogram. And one thing we notice, I'm going to go up and grab a picture of the frequency histogram we made. Notice that when we look at them side by side, the relative frequency histogram and the frequency histogram have basically the same shape. They're a little bit off from each other, mostly because our relative frequencies were rounded, but definitely you would recognize these as the same graph or as representing the same distribution, the same shape. In the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about how we might describe the shape of a histogram.